guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make ratatouille. It's a fabulous vegetable dish. It definitely varies. Every household has their own version of it. I'm not by any means saying that this is the authentic way to make it, but this is just my way and I love it, and I'm really thrilled to be able to share it with you since it's been requested here for so long. Let me take you over the ingredients so we can get started. You're going to need some bell peppers, zucchini, eggplant, onions, tomatoes, garlic, fresh thyme and rosemary, chopped, extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper. You want to make sure when you're cutting your veggies, you're pretty much cutting everything the same size because most of this is going to be baked together. Now, I do mine a little bit differently. Normally, traditionally, you make this on a stovetop in a big pan. I do mine partially in the oven and partially on the stovetop, and I'll explain why along the way. But the first thing you want to do is get your oven preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Get that out of the way, get it nice and hot. So, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my veggies, I'm going to take half of each one because I'm going to put this on 2 baking sheets so everything has got a nice amount of room. And let me explain why I do this way. I take my eggplant and my onions and peppers and zucchini and I roast them. And by roasting them, they get tons of color, tons of flavor, and I think it's much better. And then I take the tomatoes and the garlic and I kind of cook them in on the skillet here, and they get just so delicious and sweet, and they don't overcook. And by doing the tomatoes separately, the tomatoes don't give out their juice and make the veggies that I'm roasting soggy. So by combining them at the end, it's just amazing. They're so delicious. So I put some olive oil on my veggies. I put some salt, and I'm going to put some pepper. And I'm going to put my chopped herbs. I have a mixture here of rosemary and some thyme. Now, like I said, I'm not claiming that this is by any means the authentic way to make it, but this is just my way, and I adore it. So to each his own. All I'm going to do is coat these well in the olive oil, toss them to mix, and then I'm going to do the remaining ones on a separate baking sheet because I want to give everything a good amount of room to roast. If I would have put everything on one baking dish, it would steam. So just do that, and I'm going to move on to the next one. These look great. Okay, now I'm going to put these into the oven preheated at 425 for about 45 minutes to an hour. And you want to check on them every 15 minutes or so and giving them a toss because they can get browner on one side and lighter on the other. So you want to make sure they roast evenly. Keep an eye out on them because you don't want them to burn because as they cook, the vegetables will shrink. So keep an eye out on that. And when these are halfway cooked through, I'm going to show you the next step. While my veggies have about 20 minutes left in the oven, we're going to go on to making the second part of the recipe, which is the tomatoes and the garlic part. Now, in the skillet with high sides, I have a few tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil over medium-low heat. To that, I'm going to add in my garlic, which is a whole head of garlic that I've just peeled and not chopped. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this slow cook into the olive oil for about 10 minutes until it gets like a nutty brown color and it gets super fragrant and super sweet. It intensifies in such sweetness. It's absolutely delicious. And after 10 minutes, I'll show what that looks like and I'll show you the next step. My garlic's been cooking for about 10-12 minutes on medium-low. And now I'm turning the heat up to medium-high. And to this, we're going to add in our tomatoes. And as you can see, I cut the tomatoes really nice, big and chunky. And now I'm going to season them with salt and pepper. And I'm going to let those cook for about 7 to 8 minutes or until they start to cook down but develop a nice amount of color around the edges, but still keep their shapes somewhat. And by the time these are done, the veggies should be done roasting, and then we'll put the whole thing together. My tomatoes are just how I want them. I'm going to turn this off. I also took all of my veggies out of the oven. And I'm letting them sit here for just a second to cool. Now I'm just going to add all of my roasted veggies in here. Now, like I said, I know traditionally you just do the whole thing on the stovetop, but I personally like the way it comes when it's on most of the veggies are roasted. I just think it has such a nicer flavor, much better texture. You don't have a big mush. Everything kind of still has texture, still has their shape. And just roasting the vegetables intensifies their sweet flavor. Just going to put all of these in here. Going to add in a bunch of fresh basil that I've just coarsely chopped. And now I'm actually going to take this one. and just mix everything together. But you want to do it carefully because you want to be able to still see the veggies and their shapes. Like I don't want to break up all those beautiful little zucchini rounds. I took a lot of time to cut those, you know. So just want to make sure that I can see them. Smells so, so good. And the leftovers of this just taste better and better. And you can eat them. You can eat this on pretty much anything. But I personally like it on just a piece of bread or like on a pita. So you have like a pita pizza with ratatouille. Oh, so, so good. Just take a little bit out for myself. And like I said, I know that there's plenty of ways to make this, but this is just my favorite way of doing it. And I hope that you give it a try. Hey, you know, you're never too old to try something new. You know what I'm saying? It's so delicious. It's super healthy. It doesn't really take a lot of your time. You just kind of put everything into the oven and you let some tomatoes cook up on the stove while you're kind of walking around doing whatever you're going to do during the day. But that's about it. Go to www.laureandthekitchen.com. I'm sorry I keep like doing that. I'm not stabbing you, I promise. To get the recipe. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.